Let me tell you what I think may be the most destructive and dangerous thing this country has seen yet from Cori Bush. She's a newly elected, I believe, progressive. She tweeted, "My first resolution in Congress will be to call for the expulsion of the Republican members of Congress who incited this domestic terror attack on the Capitol."
20,000 retweets. How many retweets is that?
This one has 50,000.
That'll go nowhere.
It's not about that.
It's crazy.
What people need to understand, when they were saying that Mike Pence doesn't have the power or the authority, it's about willpower. We're human beings. We're not computer programs. What's to stop me right now from getting up and just leaving?
Nothing.
People would be, that's crazy. Tim left his show and now it's like, he's not there anymore. He's just gone to the empty chair. It's not likely to happen. But I could do it if I wanted to.
Sure.
Mike Pence could have walked out of the building. Mike Pence could have said whatever he wants. When Cori Bush says it's going to be a resolution, I think you're right. Probably won't go anywhere. But think about the message being sent now at a time of extreme hyperpolarization. I will expel you. I will try to remove you.
She's like, I'm part of the, what do they call that group of people?
Squad.
Yeah, I'm part of the squad now. She's just this excessively radical politician, and she's like all about tribalism. She wants to be part of this group, and she wants to do this stupidly radical expulsion of senators.
Well, listen, there's more. Hold on, there's
disturbing.
more. She tweeted, "I'm calling for the removal of every GOP member involved in today's coup. If you're with me, sign your name to my petition to send them a message that you will not stand for their treason." Do you want to know what my biggest criticisms of Lynn
This is a
Wood
freshman
was?
congressman?
A freshman congressman.
She don't know nothing.
But listen, you know what the problem is with Lynn Wood saying Mike Pence committed treason? Do you know what the penalty for treason is?
Death.
And when Cori Bush, a sitting member of the House who just got elected, is saying that Republicans should be expelled for their treason, we are this is an escalation that is listen. When I have been saying that I see this coming and I see this escalating, I'm not saying it should happen. It shouldn't happen, and people need to stop. The problem is nobody wants to be nobody will accept the other side de-escalating at all. They won't. Okay? So Cori Bush is not going to say, I will be the person to say, I'm calming down. We need to learn to work together and solve this problem. Some have.
I think your Chinese finger trap metaphor is fantastic because especially if me and you both have our fingers in the trap, if we're not talking to each other, we're not going to be able to coordinate pushing in together to get out together.
That's a really good analogy for the tribalism. It's not just one person with their hand stuck. It's both stuck in the trap trying to break out of it by pulling as hard as they can instead of talking it through, calming things down and working things out. But
the trap, we're on the trap. The trap is social media. The social media that distributes images and videos and that trigger your empathetic reactions and sort you by tribe based on instinct and gut.
So it's giving us tightening impulses where we think the other person's pulling and when they're actually not.
Yes.
Algorithms and user organizations that know if they get you in a fear state that they get more clicks, that they get more revenue, that they get more engagement, and they willingly keep incentivizing these actions that keep bringing us at each other's throats. And here we are today. So
and if you haven't already, smash that like button. We love your likes. They really do help.
But look, I don't have to be an algorithm or a news organization to know what you're saying is true. I can see it when I tweet about Antifa and Antifa violence. Mad engagement. I tweet about positive, constructive things that you can do in your life. What is the alternative? What can we do? Medium engagement, not nothing. Come on.
But listen. So I really do genuinely just tweet what I think randomly. Sometimes I'll see something and I'll tweet about it. Right?
He has funny thoughts.
So there's a bunch of tweets that I'll post that'll do really, really well. But then a good example is when I criticize the likes of Lynn Wood and I get ratioed by people who are critical or saying, well, let's wait to see how things play out. I don't care if people retweet me or not. I don't ask, please retweet this. I just tweet what I'm thinking. Sometimes my thoughts resonate with people and sometimes they don't. But there are a lot of people who purposefully know what they're doing and drive it on purpose. Now, many of these people like to accuse me of doing that. It's just not true.
Yeah.
I just say what I think.
We also got some other news. So it looks like the chair of CPAC was wrong. It wasn't a 16-year-old
Yes.
We have the
girl.
information.
We're getting information from the New York Post that this was specifically an Air Force veteran that served in the military for 14 years and had done 4 tours of duty passed away and died today from California.
Tragic.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Wow, man. And you know what the problem is? A lot of these people didn't know what they were doing. They just didn't know any. They didn't know. There was a video we were watching. I was watching it on Twitter of this woman, and she's crying. and someone asks her, what happened, and she goes, I got maced, and they were like, why did you get maced? And she goes, we tried entering the building and I got 2 feet in and then the police maced me. And they go, why were you trying to get in the building? And she goes, we're storming the Capitol. It's a revolution. She had no idea what she was talking about. Wow. She has no idea what they were doing.
Foot soldiers, stooges, tools, pawns. Okay? The street soldiers for Antifa are pawns to their network. Do you think the network really cares about those Antifa scrubs? Hell
and
no.
In 1800,
hold on.
Yeah, keep going.
I just don't want our people used as pawns, as tools.
Well, in 1800, getting into the building would have had value because that's where all the paperwork was. That's where the it's not all on the internet now. What? It's all stored in servers in Alaska.
And something you've been bringing up, Ian, is like, why don't they just vote remote?
And they probably are. We don't even know it. They have tunnels under. They don't need to be in the Capitol. That building's It's ceremonial at this point.
Other breaking news. Tucker Carlson just said that the cabinet is considering invoking the 25th Amendment. This is from Tucker Carlson of Fox News reporting
Trump's
this
cabinet?
right now.
Or the new
cabinet. That's what I'm getting right now.
Is that the group Nancy Pelosi created or whatever?
I'm not.
Or is it Trump's cabinet?
I'm not sure. I'm looking into this more.
In D.C., they wanted. I mean, there's so much we haven't even got into the pipe bombs and stuff we got to talk about. I'll tell you what really freaked me out. You know what really freaked me out, Jack? When Virginia announced they were sending in Virginia National Guard into a federal jurisdiction. When Maryland announced they were sending in National Guard into a federal jurisdiction.
At the request of the mayor.
No.
Yeah. No, I saw the whole thing happen.
The mayor requested Virginia and Maryland?
Because the mayor requested the National Guard, and the Pentagon said no. So then she went and she requested local jurisdictional help. There are Fairfax County cops down there. There are Montgomery County cops down there.
Mike Pence issued a statement ordering the D.C. National Guard to step up. Trump didn't do it. Why?
Yeah, this is what I don't understand. Why the National Guard was rejected. There's a lot of confusing things. Look, first of all, last time there wasn't any damage like this, okay? And in all the protests and riots before, it has been BLM and Antifa, so that's why they're and the police force escalated as the violence escalated, and they finally escalated the police force enough to put it down. Maybe people just didn't assume that the MAGA folks were going to come and storm the Capitol.
I said, I do my segments, 10 a.m., 1 p.m., 4 p.m. My 1 p.m. segment, I'm like, there's a lot of people, nothing's going to happen. I was like, Trump supporters don't do this stuff, right?
Yeah.
They wave little American flags. They're in the ellipse. They're waiting for Trump. Trump's going to speak. He's going to say his piece, and they're going to leave. And then I remember, like, the video goes up, and then it was like 1:46. This woman gets shot or whatever, and I'm like, my video's been up for 45 minutes, and I said this wasn't going to happen, and it's happening right now.
You incited it.
It's so insane that I could say two things. Violence does not work, and I showed you the graph. I showed you Black Lives Matter losing all their support by rioting. Don't do it. And I can say, I don't even think Trump supporters will do it. I had been saying for the week going up to it, roads are being closed, so I don't know if I'm going to go there anyway. And I don't think Trump supporters are going to do much. If anything, you would assume people would say Tim was discouraging people from going. But this is the problem. The left and the right, to varying degrees, don't care. And what I mean by that is the left believes genuinely that the right doesn't care, and the right believes genuinely the left doesn't care. And so both sides are unwilling to back down. There's not going to be a compromise on these issues.
And what happens when you perpetrate one side, the other side gets even stronger, and then it just keeps going back and forth in this continual cycle.
You know who loves this is the security apparatus. Yeah, they're all sitting in their private room popping champagne.
Dude, they're already drafting up their brand new counterinsurgency task force for the United States to go after everybody.
The far right is the worst threat.
Tweeted on a MAGA hashtag. It's coming. It's coming. This was such a blunder. I cannot emphasize this enough. That they were going to come after us anyway. The Trumpification talk had already begun. There's no question. But now, on the eve of them taking power, we have literally, these guys, the Storm the Capitol, have handed the incoming administration this just free pass to crack down. They will have the full support of the American people because, hey, there's a revolution going on in D.C. Got to put it down. Got to put down white supremacists, the worst national security threat according to the FBI. Bull. Yep. And so now they're going to have basically what do you call it when like a mandate? They have a mandate. Mm-hmm. They will have a mandate now to crack down on people, on speech, on everything else, make everything worse.
Loeffner on the House floor just said, quote, "When I arrived in Washington this morning, I fully intended to object the certification of the electoral votes. However, The events that have transpired today have forced me to reconsider, and I cannot now, in good conscience, object. So those are the comments that were just issued.
Okay, so who wins? The only winners here are the left.
Private security agencies.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Good
Okay,
contracts to come.
so they won. MAGA, no win, nothing.
This is the end of MAGA.
Yes, it's over.
Trump is they're talking about invoking the 25th.
What is that? That's where you take the acting president out. And
Yep. The vice president says he's unable to do his job. They remove him. And I said earlier, I would not be surprised now if they impeach and remove as like an immediate. And this is the perfect opportunity to do it. Look, they claim Trump was instigating and all this stuff. Trump was definitely talking about the evidence, the election. He's very energetic, but he didn't tell anybody to go do anything.
I was at the speech. It was dry. And what I noted was that he did talk about some Dominion and last minute vote switching and yada yada, but he emphasized very concrete pieces of evidence, Matt Brainerd type evidence, out of state voters, dead voters, whatever. He's like, I'm going to bore you with all the details because he was there to lay out his case.
He even prefaced, like, please don't hate me when I'm so boring. And then he pretty much put the ball in Mike Pence's court, which everyone was saying that was a pretty weak move if you really care about this.
He's like, do the right thing.
You wouldn't put all the responsibilities on Mike Pence, who publicly disagreed with you on this particular topic.
So he conceded in front of everyone today, basically. He said, I'll never concede. But the speech was
he gave the ball to Mike Pence. Right. I think that's fair to say.
Right.
It's the easiest way to be like, I'm not conceding. It just Pence isn't supporting me.
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest here. He was already planning on a golfing trip on the inauguration during, and
Scotland said no.
And Scotland said no because of, COVID. So there's also that important merit to bring up here, and people should also understand.
I think this is the. I think it's the end. Do you disagree?
Well, no. I was just shaking my. I don't know if I agree or not, but I was shaking my head at the idea that this moment is the worst possible thing that could happen to the emergent Trump nationalist populism that was trying to come out of this. Stop the steal. Stop the steal. Could have been literal. Could have been metaphorical. Just the same way Build the Wall was literal and metaphorical, pulling back from globalism and erecting barriers in general. Stop the steal. Stop them from stealing our government. Stop the critical race theorists from taking over the government. Stop the radical left from taking over our institutions. I can see that. So there was like a seed. There's energy, and then something like this is bad. Bad juice for the energy.
Jack, I got bad news for you.
Tell me.
Do you know what the number 5 top trending hashtag is on Twitter right now?
F around and find out.
White privilege.
White privilege.
White privilege.
Oh, because that white chick got shot for storming the Capitol?
Probably because what they've been saying is, look what happens when Black Lives Matter protests. They get all these different agencies
we heard that all night on
surrounding. CNN. I mean, look, it's actually a fair point, but not necessarily for entirely what they're saying. They're saying when Black Lives Matter comes to the Capitol, they go crazy with mass security, right? That's true. They didn't do that this time. But guess who loses in the end? It's the MAGA. It's Trump supporters.
Well, Trump wouldn't call in the National Guard. He denied the mayor National Guard.
No. Oh. The National Guard said no to the request.
I thought Trump said no.
Are you sure they said no?
Yes, denied. I mean, I saw reports on Twitter, and then the follow-on events line up to me to say that this was likely to have happened, in that they went to the National Guard first. No.
And
now they call in cops from Loudoun County.
Isn't Trump the authorization?
Chris Miller is. But Chris Miller reports to Trump, so there's a whole lot that could happen there. What I heard was that the National Guard had already been given orders on how they were assisting local law enforcement. When the mayor came in and said, we want you to move, they said, that's got to go through standardized procedure, so we can't do that. Trump did not say, give them their request. Mike Pence eventually stepped in and said, do it. And then they did. So Trump didn't do it.
Yeah, there's so much fake news and nonsense out there. I mean, I don't know if even I should address this, specifically with what Keith Oberman just said.
Oh, no.
But you won't
do
believe
it.
Come on. He's left-wing.
We need to see both sides.
Is it about baseball?
We must know all sides.
He said, quote, the United States of America was today the victim of a terrorist attack orchestrated by the President of the United States. Today, Donald Trump's 9/11 attack on America. He's comparing what happened today
Keith
to
Olbermann's
9/11.
He reminds me of that guy Marat in the French Revolution. Remember that writer, the Friend of the People, I think was his news
the
organization?
guy with the condition?
Yeah, he had a skin condition. He'd have to, and this woman stabbed him and martyred him basically.
That's
and
that painting of him in the bathtub.
And caused, so I like Keith a little bit, but this rhetoric that he's been spewing the last like 5 years since he went crazy, since he got kicked out of his old job with, who was it, MSNBC? when he got
That's
fired
easy.
like
Then this was the
2007, went
dumbest
crazy.
terrorist attack in the history of terror attacks. A terror attack with a net result of -1 dead, poor girl dead, and your whole intent and purposes being shot to shit all at the same time. What kind? What is that?
That's why I wonder about the police just letting him in.
I want to know more about that. I'm going to talk to my guys and see what they have to say about that.
They definitely, there's videos of them smashing the windows. Like the cops weren't letting them in the building,
Let me see if I can.
but
draw
they
that
smashed the windows out. They were climbing and scaling those walls.
Dude, those
They were going
walls,
through awnings.
we need to get those
Yeah.
rivets out of the walls, by the way, that you can climb up.
Yeah, I've always thought about that.
Make
You walk by
flat, sheer walls
Yeah.
that jut
What are you
out so
doing?
you can't get over them.
like whoever was designing the Capitol, they were like, I think we need a ladder to get into the Capitol grounds here. So let's make this wall climbable. What? You crazy?
Like, let's make it look good. No one's
It's got to have like
gotta
those,
look pretty.
It's got to have those pigeon things on it so people can't climb it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Those little
Yo,
spikes.
Tim.
to come out. And,
Trump's
yeah.
banned from Facebook for 24 hours.
Yeah. Yep. Twitter 12 hours, Facebook
Yeah.
24
This
hours.
is the end of Trump's.
They're gonna kick him
I
off.
think they're going to go after him legally.
They'll
I think
ban
the
his
states.
account.
I know. I think New York's going to try to arrest him. They're going to try and shut down the organization. They did not want this man to win. And I tell you, man, what we've seen here. You know what I was saying earlier when I said nothing's going to happen? I was like, look, we went through 4 years of the left screaming Trump's illegitimate, he didn't win, and these scandals. And I was like, what's the likelihood that we get the same thing now with Republicans saying, oh, Joe Biden and scandals in Ukraine, and now we're seeing Trump supporters clashing with cops like we saw with Antifa. I think it was. I said it was going to be like an inversion. This is not. This is something twisted and weird.
Ha, this puts the banning of Enrique into a new light, doesn't it?
Why is that?
Well, because maybe he would have been on the ground telling people to chill the F out. I don't think he was going down into D.C. thinking that they were going to storm the Capitol.
Yep.
Yeah, in fights, whenever you take down the leadership, the army usually is chaotic, doesn't know what
These
going
people are
on.
going to prison.
Shout out to John Gary for that comment on Twitter. Thank you very much. And then another thing I was thinking about today is I noticed after the speech there were just gangs, and I don't want to use. Okay, let me take that back. There were large groups of angry people dressed in black, and they had shirts, F Antifa. Then there was other group, and they were just marching around F Antifa, F Antifa. And then another group, and I'm not disparaging these people are saying it's wrong. I'm just saying the energy was different today. Then there was multiple groups carrying with, football-sized flags, American flags, all holding a piece of it over their head, walking down the streets, chanting, "Who streets? Our streets.
Wow,
Who
really?
streets? Our
Like
streets.
Antifa
We
does.
keep us safe." Exactly. They stole all the Antifa chants. I saw multiple groups like that.
Do you see the? I heard reports that there were leftists and conservatives chanting "F the police." I don't know if that's true though.
Well, I'm telling you, man, my Twitter mentions yesterday went ACAB. Like, I couldn't believe it.
From Trump supporters.
Yeah, from my own
Yeah.
people. I block a bunch of people. I don't care.
I think Antifa is going to become a I don't want to say it's going to not bipartisan isn't the right word, but I wouldn't be surprised. Like when Enrique Tarrio tweeted that Proud Boys are going to dress like Antifa. What's to stop now conservatives from being like, okay,
Yeah, I think Cerno tweeted this afternoon. This was the birth of the right-wing Antifa. John Robb today tweeted out that this was the
and
first
in my 13
first
years of covering the
mobilization
Capitol,
for
I've
the
never seen,
right-wing tribal network. He actually asked me yesterday in DMs, "How's mobilization looking?" And I couldn't tell him, but I saw it today. Man, it's there. The ACAB is in effect now. I'm feeling it all over the place. The Back the Blue seems to be history. Phase shift in the network, practically overnight. Hat tip Joe Norman on that one, and then this violence against the cops and storming in federal buildings.
Dude.
I mean, like the whole
Did you-
environment shifted today.
did you see the video of? I tell you, the craziest thing I've ever seen. There's someone holding a thin blue line flag in front of and right in front of them in this huge crowd is a cop being shoved and beaten by a bunch of Trump supporters. Did you see that video?
No,
I don't know if he was being beaten per se, but he was being roughed up,
It's this
dragged out of the building apparently.
The story of becoming the demon that you despise. Have you seen the Watchman, the movie? There's a cartoon in it where this guy goes out to sea, and these demons attack his boat and take him, and then they're going to kill his wife back home. So he has these visions, and he just wants to kill this demon. So he finally, he's sailing back to save his wife, and he's just obsessed with destroying this demon. He gets back, and it's nighttime, and he's searching for his wife, and he sees the demon, and he kills it. And then he realizes when the light comes on that the demon was his wife. And he became so obsessed with destruction and destroying this evil thing that he became the evil thing.
What's the saying? Be careful when fighting monsters, lest you become one. For when you gaze into the abyss gazes back. Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. We do the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. So come back to check us out when we go live. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, and we are also available on all podcast platforms for free if you want to listen to us there. Thanks for hanging out, and we will see you all next time.